So February 13th marks the anniversaries of both So Far Gone and If You're Reading This Is Too Late, two iconic Drake mixtapes. So we're going to discuss, which one's better and which one, has had maybe a bigger impact on Drake's career.
Absolutely, guys. But before we actually dive into the video, make sure to subscribe and let us know in the comments section which one out of these two mixtapes do you prefer, and also let us know when did you get into Drake.
We're making this type of content on the weekly, guys, so stay tuned for more.
On the daily, we're up to like 4 videos a week now. But regardless, you know what? Let's talk about Drake. So Far Gone turns 12. If you're reading this, it's too late. Turns 6. It's absolutely incredible to see what both of them did for his discography.
Yeah, and starting off with So Far Gone, this was really Drake's breakthrough mixtape, just because it spawned 2 hits, which were Best I Ever Had, which hit number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, and then we had the song Successful, which was also a huge song. So this was Drake's entrance into an international scale level of fame, essentially. And he did so with his first mixtape, where he had Noah Shebib handling all of it, along with Boi-1da. And the production was actually inspired by Kanye's 808s and Heartbreak. And we hear that through the piano chords, through the atmospheric synthesizers, and the live instrumentals as well. So production-wise, I would actually put So Far Gone over If You're Reading This Is Too Late.
Also for cosigns, maybe, because those 4 Wayne cosigns on that mixtape really did a lot for Drake, and you start to see it later in his career, how Drake sort of bounced off that mixtape and grew out the rest of his discography. Also, there was a huge duality of R&B and hip-hop, which was really being pushed at that time, and those Wheezy cosigns really pushed that whole genre and basically pushed Drake's career. And we could see after how he played out with the rest of his discography. But going to 2015 and going into If You're Reading This Is Too Late, that is probably one of the most important projects in Drake's career, because it had a perfect chemistry with What a Time to Be Alive. They were both #1 projects in 2015, and not only that, but it allowed for Drake to really expand into a different sound and do his thing.
And think about this, If You're Reading This Is Too Late was a surprise release, and it was after 2 years of Drake not dropping, because his last project before that was Nothing Was the Same.
He was supposed to actually drop Views from the Six
in 2014.
In 2014, before he had this whole trap run.
Yeah, so he comes back with a surprise album where, he's tackling, kind of some trap instrumentals, and this is Drake at his most braggadocious. This is, in your face, aggressive Drake, and I loved every second of it just because of the bangers that we got. We got songs like Energy, we got songs like Know Yourself. And not only that, but we also got, more introspective tracks like You in the Six, like 6 p.m. in New York. And I would say that, as much as I love the bangers on this album, my favorite song would have to be You in the Six, which is kind of, a tribute track to Drake's mother, and also to, his home city of Toronto.
For me, it's a 2-way tie between Know Yourself and No Tellin', just because of both of those beat switches. I'm also a huge fan of 6 p.m. in New York and Jungle. Jungle is a super underrated Drake track, and there's also diversity in this mixtape, because a lot of people think about the big party bangers, and they think about Six God and they think about everything else, but they don't understand that this also has some of Drake's most introspective material, and there's all this going on in a mixtape, in quotations. So it's absolutely mind-blowing.
Let me ask you this: which mixtape do you prefer, and do you think is better between So Far Gone and If You're Reading This Is Too Late?
I'm gonna have to give it to If You're Reading This It's Too Late. In my opinion, it's Drizzy at his most, I would say,
focused, maybe
concentrated.
Yeah.
I could say that. I could maybe throw that in there. I would also say the production is some of my favorite on a Drizzy project, probably my favorite. I love the duality of the heartwarming track, and the tracks that are really aggressive, really in your face, and how both of those play such a big cinematic value, because the deeper you go down through the track list, more softer tracks start to show up. And it's crazy because it feels like this whole one big water slide that you're going down to,
and it's a long track. It's a long track list, but it doesn't feel like it at all.
It's true.
Between So Far Gone and If You're Reading This Is Too Late, for me, I think So Far Gone is the better produced album. I love what it did for Drake's career, because it really exploded him into a whole nother world for hip hop and music in general. But I think the more quality mixtape is If You're Reading This Is Too Late, just because, like you said, it's banger from front to back. We get those introspective tracks at the end that ties it all together. So, at the end of the day, they're both iconic, but I think If You're Reading This Is Too Late gets the edge on it.
Not only that, but I was in high school when this dropped, and I remember the day it dropped. And I know Nick was talking about this before, how he was walking to John's house in the winter and listening to it. And I was sort of that same vibe. I was listening to this a lot, walking to the bus stop and, doing different things. So it has an iconic place in my my hip hop listening journey. So guys, listen, if you like content like this, don't forget to subscribe. And yes, again, leave in the comment section which mixtape do you prefer out of these. Guys are pushing the narrative. We're connecting the world to hip hop. Enjoy the rest of your week.